So in this video, we will see the events occurring during the neuromuscular junction action potential transfer, that is the traveling. So let us see the sequence of events during the transmission of action potential at neuromuscular junction. First, the motor neuron. You should know what is a motor neuron. First, a motor neuron is a single neuron that is innervating many muscle fiber. That is a motor neuron. So this is the neuronal part, and this is the muscle membrane. We call it sarcolemma. Okay, right. So let us see each step very clearly. When a nerve impulse reaches the neuromuscular junction, the motor neuron action potential opens up the voltage-gated calcium channels located in the neural membrane terminals. So, a nerve impulse is reaching the NM junction, which is a neuromuscular junction. The motor neurons action potential opens up. So this is a motor neuron. Its action potential, which is traveling through the total axon, it opens up the calcium channel, that is voltage gated calcium channels, which are present on the terminals of the motor neuron. Okay, so voltage gated calcium channels open, leading to the calcium to go inside the neuron. The calcium which is there, it enters through the voltage gated calcium channels. Calcium will get influxed. So the opening up of voltage gated calcium channels, allows the calcium to diffuse from the synaptic space to the inferior of the nerve ending. Okay, so what happens? The acetylcholine release. The calcium influx in the nerve endings will trigger a marked increase in the exocytosis of the acetylcholine containing vesicles. So what happens is that this calcium will get binded to the synaptic vesicle. There will be a synaptotrophin. There will be a protein in the synaptic vesicle. To that vesicle, the calcium will get bounded, and they will cause this calcium will cause the synaptic vesicle to empty their neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine. In this case, they'll they will cause this synaptic vesicle to empty their acetylcholine into the synaptic cleft. Okay, so this is the work of calcium. So in this ending, you have a snare proteins. Okay, that will causes the membrane of the synaptic vesicles to come and get embedded in a synaptic trough, which is present on the presynaptic membranes ending. That is an axon terminal. You have a synaptic trough. That trough to come and settle down, the snare proteins will stimulate the membranes of all the synaptic vesicles to come and attract to the synaptic trough. So you can see in that, and the binding, so the acetylcholine diffuses. So as the synaptic vesicles get embedded in the synaptic trough, they will empty the acetylcholine into the synaptic cleft. Okay, so then the acetylcholine, this releases the acetylcholine into the synaptic cleft. Sodium influx into the postsynaptic muscle fiber membrane. How does this happen? Acetylcholine diffuses to the synaptic space, and they bind to the muscle type nicotinic ACH receptors, which are concentrated at the tops of the junctional folds of the membrane of motor end plate. So if we see the motor end plate, you have a junctional fold. In those junctional folds only, we will be having the acetylcholine receptors. To that receptors, the released acetylcholine molecule will get binded there. So the acetylcholine will get binded to the ACH receptor, which are concentrated at the top of the junctional fold. Right? Binding of the acetylcholine to these receptors increases the Na plus and K plus conductance of the membrane and results primarily into the influx of sodium into the muscle fiber, carrying with a large number of positive charges. This creates a local positive potential charge inside the muscle fiber. It's called as end plate potential. So as a result, there will be a ligand gated sodium channels present there that will open up the sodium. More sodium comes in and more potassium goes out. And as there is more sodium coming in, there will be more increase in the positive charge inside the sar. So here you can see. So increase in positive charge inside the muscle fiber. This will cause a local positive charge inside the muscle fiber that will create an end plate potential. When end plate potential reaches a threshold value, it will cause an action potential. So, generation of end plate potential. Influx of sodium into the muscle fiber. End plate creates a local positive potential charge inside the muscle fiber membrane called an end plate potential. This creates a local current between the depolarized and the plate and adjacent muscle plasma membrane. End plate potential initiates an action potential. So, as the end plate potential reaches a threshold value, it will start producing the action potential. Okay, and that will spread along the muscle membrane and they will cause a muscle contraction. So how it will contract means, so here in the that is, you can see the sarcolemma, right? So the action potential spreads through the sarcolemma. There will be an invagination in the sarcolemma, that is called as a transverse or T-tubules. Via the T-tubules, action potential goes, and the action potential, if you see the transverse tubules, it has been surrounded by two terminal cisternae of sarcoplasmic reticulum. So one T-tubule and two terminal cisternae combinedly called as a triad, which will causes the SAS. By moving the action potential move through the T-tubules, the T-tubule has DHP receptors which get activated, and then it activates the RYR receptor, ryanodine receptors on the terminal cisternae, and that will cause the ligand gated calcium channels to open up, whereas the terminal cisternae, as a result, it will cause the ligand gated calcium channels to open up and the calcium will go inside the sarcoplasm. Okay, so as the calcium goes, then it will start binding to the troponin C, as it will cause the contraction. This is called as excitation contraction coupling process. So the acetylcholine degradation should happen, because if there is a continuous muscle contraction, excitation, contraction, coupling continuously, if it happen, the muscle fiber will get what? It will get fatigue. Okay, so it will get tired, right? So that should not happen. So the acetylcholine, if it is in synaptic cleft, it will start binding the receptors on the junctional folds. So acetylcholine, the synaptic space has been removed by the acetylcholine esterase. That is an enzyme which has been present in the synaptic cleft. This acetylcholine esterase will break the acetylcholine into acetate, which has been degraded, and choline which has been sent back to the presynaptic membrane via a transporter protein for reuse. Okay, this is what the total process. So to shortly summarize, action potential comes, it reaches the terminal end, axon terminal. It will stimulate the voltage gated calcium channels, which opens up, producing the calcium into the presynaptic membrane, into the space in this axon, and the calcium will get binded to the protein and synaptic vesicle, and it will cause the synaptic vesicles to move to the presynaptic membrane synaptic trough. Also, the snare proteins which is present at the presynaptic membrane will stimulate the membranes of all the synaptic vesicles to come and bind the synaptic trough. The voltage gated calcium will stimulate the synaptic vesicle to empty the acetylcholine molecules. The acetylcholine molecules, as a result of voltage gated calcium channels, they releases the acetylcholine into the synaptic space. This released acetylcholine will get binded to the acetylcholine receptor which is present on the junctional fold, which is nothing but an invagination in the, which is like a invaginated folds on the sarcolemma. So as the binding of the acetylcholine receptor to the receptor which is present on the junctional fold takes place, it will causes the ligand gated sodium channels to open up, where the sodium get influxed and the potassium get efflux. This will cause more amount of positive charge to enter inside the muscle fiber, leading to the end plate potential. As the end plate potential has been produced and it reaches a threshold value, it will cause the action potential that is spread throughout the sarcolemma. It also spread via the T tubules, which are nothing but the invagination of the sarcolemma, and the T tubules carry it to the DHP receptors, which is present on the T tubules, that will stimulate the terminal cisternae RYR receptor, causing the ligand gated calcium channel open. There will be a huge amount of calcium influx into the sarcoplasm, causing the muscle contraction. So this is the excitation contraction coupling. The released acetylcholine as it should not continuously bind to the receptor and cause the contractions, as the muscle will get weakened. The result acetylcholine has been broken down by acetylcholine esterase in the synaptic cleft into acetate and choline, where the choline is being reused for the next synaptic vesicles. Okay, the next synaptic vesicle uses the choline. The choline which has been sent into the presynaptic space will combine with acetate and it form acetylcholine and get embedded into the synaptic vesicle for the next excitation contraction coupling. That's it.